of the minutes. Chair will recognize a motion to approve those
So moved.
committee members.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Item number 1 is approval for reduction of speed limit on Northridge Road from 50 to 45 miles per hour. Lua and Brian, are y'all here? Hey, welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. So a couple months ago, we received some complaints from citizens on Northridge speed limit, suggesting that we decrease the speed limit from 50 miles per hour to 45. The Office of the City Engineer started a speed study that was bi-phased. We did run the speed study before the summer break, when the school was in session, and during the summer break, so we would have realistic numbers to compare and evaluate. After that, we looked into the car crash for the last 5 years, and we also used tool from the federal administration, Federal Highway Administration, that helps us evaluate the speed limit. The specific part of Northridge Road that we are talking about goes from Old Colony to Rice Valley Road. And it turns out that by the end of our investigation, we concluded that the speed limit should be decreased, which is coherent with the indication of the program from the Federal Highway Administration. They suggested the same speed limit that we are suggesting, which is 45 miles per hour. And that's based on the car crash being 18% higher than the average for this type of roads. The fact that this road is frequented by pedestrians, by people with bikes, and we have 2 schools right there. So that's the recommendation from the Office of the City Engineer at this point.
Yeah, there have been, to Louis' points, a lot of complaints about speeding on that road. I know there at least has been one fatality in the last several years on that road before, I think that was before the middle school was built. We've got 3 schools there in that zone, Verner, Northridge, and Northridge Middle. And there's been a lot of complaints I've gotten about that speeding, excessive speeding on there, and I think that is, especially with the roads around there, they're all 45, correct? Lou?
Correct,
I mean,
sir.
there's no other.
That's a
thing
very
is
good
50.
point. Old Colony is 45, and Rice Valley, where it encounters Northridge Road, is 40.
Yeah,
So it would be more coherent to have a 45 speed limit.
yeah. I think it's the right
Motion.
thing to do, but the
Second.
committee, motion and second, that was easy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
before you
sir.
move on,
Sir.
I'm glad you brought this up. I think this is a good thing for all of us to explore within our communities as it relates to the speed of people going into our neighborhoods and public roads.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Item number 2 is approval of minor public works contract with J&L Tree Service for stump removal at Greenwood Cemetery. Total is $150. Selvin, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yes, this is authorization for a contract with J&L Tree Service for removal of an old stump at Greenwood Cemetery. It's a whopping $150 effort. Small initiative, but it will go a long way in our many efforts to do a better job in keeping all of our cemeteries up to par. So I think you'll see a number of things in all of our cemeteries that you haven't seen in a while for cleanup, so we are really focusing on those things.
Motion.
This is an effort to do that.
I was gonna say, I'm sure this is within budget, right? I would
Yes.
hope.
Hey, well,
Motion. Sorry.
Mr. Wilson will pay for it if
Yes,
we.
yes, sir, I will. And I will say.
District funds.
Yeah, and Mr. Green, I want to thank you. I see so many, especially even the cemetery there, West Highland, you all have been really doing a good job of keeping the city's portion up.
Yeah, we've got a couple of residents in that area who've been keeping us on our toes, so it's been an easy push.
Motion and second on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, approval of minor public works contract with MAK Environmental for asbestos removal at 2801 21st Street. Total is $1,400. Mr. Green.
This is a property that council has already approved for demolition. During our inspection, we did encounter asbestos in this property, so our next step is to have the asbestos removed in an environmentally sound way before we move forward with the demolition. So this contract will be with MAK Environmental for the removal of that asbestos.
And it is.
Sylvan, was this be added to the
Yeah, I was
lien?
gonna ask that.
Yes,
I assume there's gonna be a lien on the demolition.
yes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, approval to enter into a minor public works contract with John Wayne Plumbing to replace sewer pumps, repair discharge line, and replace control panel for grinder pump station. A lot of words there at 3200 Greensboro Avenue. Craig, welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and appreciate y'all having me here today. This is for, at 3200, we had a grinder pump failure out there, so this is the work that needs to be done to bring this up to where we won't have an issue with it, in the future, you know, barring acts of God, things like that. But this will get this up to par. We had older grinder pumps. The control panel was very bad shape, so we had to do a lot of replacing out there for this.
We are within budget.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from the committee? If not, I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is approval to enter into minor public works contract with Air Tech for air duct cleaning in Annex 2. Totals $15,500. Craig.
Yes, sir. This is for floors 1 and 2 and Annex 2. This is just preventive maintenance on this. Just cleaning out the, air ducts.
And we're within budget.
Also
Yes, sir.
in budget.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
Second.
Motion and a second for approval. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, approval to enter into minor public works contract with Paint on Us for painting at City Hall Annex 1. Totals $3,000. Craig.
Yes, sir. This is for the painting of the main hallway and HR department in the area where they just moved to up on the 3rd floor. And this also is within budget.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 7, approval of minor public works contract with John Wayne Plumbing and Drain to run new sewer drain line for TPD mechanic shop. Total $35,500. Craig.
Yes, sir. They're gonna, in this, we're proposing to reroute the lateral for this building, the maintenance, radio shop, maintenance where they do the police bikes and police cars, things of maintenance there. They're gonna bring the lateral out the back of the building and run it around and tie it back into where it's at. On the east end of the building, there's a bad sag in the line that's caused us maintenance issues for years now. And on the western side of the building, the pipe is collapsed under the building. They're currently using porta potties out there to use the restroom.
And is this down off of,
This is at the police station.
at the
Police
police
precinct?
station?
Yes.
Where they do the
This is in the
work?
back where the gas pumps are. At the end of that's where the radio shop is, and then where they do the work on the motorcycle stuff. Yes, sir.
How long has this been going on?
A couple of weeks now.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Matthew, are you an aye?
Yeah.
All right, opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8 is authorization to enter into a reimbursement agreement with AlDOT for relocation of a water main in conflict with AlDOT's replacement bridge on US 11 over the Norfolk Southern Railway project not to exceed $142,401.30. Brett, welcome.
Good afternoon. This is just asking to enter in a reimbursement agreement with AlDOT in order to relocate 2 existing water mains that are currently in conflict with their proposed bridge replacement project.
Since we're being reimbursed, that's a good thing.
100% reimbursement.
100% reimbursement.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 9, authorization to submit FY23 ASIP pre-application to the FAA's Airport Improvement Program. Welcome, Jeff.
Good afternoon. As we were finishing up 2022's project last week, we were ready to start the 2023 process with the pre-application submitted through ALDOT in consideration for projects by the FAA.
All right. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item number 10 is recommendation of architectural engineering consultant selection. That's a lot of words. For
Yes,
the
sir.
airport and authorization to negotiate scope and fee. Jeff?
Yes, sir. We last proposed this back in 2017. It's a 5-year contract. It establishes a master service agreement with an engineer firm to provide those services to the airport. We're at that 5-year end of that contract. We're requesting approval of our recommendation to really select Atkins based off an RFP process that was initiated in July. We had 2 firms respond in the August 24th deadline. It was Atkins Global and Garver Engineering, and our recommendation is to move forward with Atkins.
So moved.
Jeff, you say that's the same people that did it the last 5 years?
Yes, sir.
What kind of cost increase do you see on it?
So it's going to be based off the work authorization of the individual project. This creates a master service agreement, so when we know we have a project from the FAA, we'll bring a work authorization to you to show what those costs are at that time. The master service agreement just allows us to go ahead and use Atkins to develop that work authorization, so we don't have any cost up front at this point. It's based off the project that's awarded by the FAA.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 11 is approval of change order number 1 to the construction contract with Price Construction for Sokol Park North. The new parking lots and Watermelon Road improvements projects total $13,591.91. Calvin, welcome.
Good afternoon, Council. Yes, OCE is recommending approval for change order number 1 to the Sokol Park North project via an amendment to Price Construction's construction contract. It'll be an additive amount of $13,591, and it's for the stone for the cross-country trails over at Sokol Park. South and north sort of connects the 2 parks together, and here's a map of the trail. And we're asking approval for change order number 1. And the funding for this is Elevate.
If I may, this
Yeah,
is the
that's-
trail that
Yeah.
goes back up in the woods. It's, right now, it's a lot of roots. It's narrow. It's gonna be widened. It'll be safer. And we've had kids break ankles back in there going over those roots and turned a whole lot of ankles. But we've had at least 1 broken bone in the past year.
Where's that, John Bowers? What Bowers?
Orient, please, where is,
That Bowers Park?
are we on north or south?
Oh.
Right now,
They need
no,
that
they
at
got-
Bowers, don't they?
this sort of
They got a
connects
trail
to, this is sort of, while the foliage is,
South
south of that
Sokol
foliage,
North.
that's Sokol Park South. And right up north where it tends to clear out, that's the southern part of Sokol Park North, if that makes any sense.
Kind of, where's the pavilion?
The pavilion,
That might help with putting glasses
Yeah.
on, maybe it'll all become clear.
That's-
Towns of the North
That's the
River.
towns.
That's the
up there,
towns
right. So
over
it's back-
here?
It's back down here.
yes.
Okay, so up here is, a little further up is all those baseball fields and the old model
That's correct,
airplane
yes.
place.
Just north of where it cuts off, that's where the model airplane fields are and the ball fields and.
Okay, I got
And it's,
you. Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12 is approval of task order directive number 6 with Garver Headworks for the Headworks Improvements Project at Fletcher, $695,690. Kimberly?
Hey, there's an extra word in there. It's with Garver, which is the engineering group. I'm not, Headworks, that shouldn't be in there in that piece of it, but. So this is, task order directive 6, which is overall, master directive task order directive project for the Fletcher facility, and, that master, agreement evaluates some of the different processes at the Fletcher wastewater facility. So this particular piece of it is for the digesters, and so it's the anaerobic digestion. It'll be upgrading and improving the mixing system in the digesters.
What is the digester?
So the digesters are the piece of the process where, when everything starts coming together towards the end, it basically the solids start coming together, and you can separate the solids from the water, and then the solids can go to the landfill, and then the water can be discharged.
Gotcha.
And so this is going to be engineering through bid phase.
Okay.
And it's, this is,
Wow, no, go ahead.
and this is, one of the, bond projects.
Okay. Yeah.
Very good description.
You need to go see
As,
that if you
as
haven't.
fascinating as the digesters are, I'm gonna ask you if we could table for 1 week. There's some more information I want to
Not this
provide.
one, the next one. We're good with this one.
Motion to approve.
Sorry,
Second.
sorry. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm trying to give you a heads up on the other.
Straighten you out.
Sorry, it is approved. Item number 13. is
I guess that
authorization-
takes all the drama out of my next
Yeah,
move.
authorization to enter into master services agreement with Jacobs Engineering for advanced metering infrastructure project. Task order directive number 1, total is $99,850. Welcome, Ron.
Yes, sir, thank you. This is just a request to enter into that contract. We have been previously in the contract with USS for implementation and installation of our AMI project for the last 3 years. This is the next phase of it, moving into grabbing us a consultant so that they can help us get a master plan to move the balance of our 50,000 meters over to our AMI system that has already currently been installed. $99,850, and it is bond issue money.
How many meters do we already have installed?
Our initial contract with USS was for 5,800 meters,
Yes, sir.
and then we've installed roughly 3,500 new meters with that, so we're around 7,500 to 8,000 meters right now that we have on AMI. But the balance of our meters, which is, we've got around 57,000 meters, and that's hard to give you a total on that because that fluctuates from day to day, depending on how many accounts are open or closed on any given day. So we usually have between 54,000 and 57,000, so we've got roughly 50,000 left to get onto the AMI system.
And what is our long-term goal? Is that to change out all of the meters within our?
Yes, sir. Our long-term goal is to get 100% of our meters onto our AMI system.
Gotcha.
Metering infrastructure.
Okay.
Ron, will you talk a little bit again about what this does and what it does not do? Because I know this is helping us develop a plan of attack, correct?
Yes, sir. That's
Of
correct.
how this works. Talk a little bit about how important that is.
Um,
Prioritizing, I mean, because I know we talked about this week, we're talking about prioritizing what we're looking at, what's replaced first, right? That needs to happen.
Yes, sir. And then that's why I started with saying that we've been in the contract with USS, who is our AMI installer. They install all of our infrastructure. That's what we've been doing for the past 2 to 3 years. We're going into the 3rd year of the contract with them. Their portion of the contract was to install the infrastructure, which is the radio, the collectors, the repeaters, the towers that get those radio signals back to a head-end computer where we can actually build. A portion of that was to get basically a sample set of the 5,800 meters onto the system so that we can make sure everything's functioning correctly. Now, the next phase of that is to make a master plan to figure out how to get everything, all the rest of our meters onto the AMI system. And a part of that is we want to get the best bang for our buck. We want to, one of the problems we've had, and everyone here knows, we've had some turnover here at the city, so we hadn't had a lot of continuity throughout our project. If we can get a consultant like Jacobs on board with us, then they can get a master plan that, regardless of what our turnover here is at the city, we'll kind of be guided in the direction with this. We haven't had a lot of good direction on this before, and that's one of the things that slowed us down a lot.
That's also been a little bit of our problem too, right?
Yes, sir.
With that
Yes, sir.
is, in these metering changes, I know we've had a lot of billing issues that we're still working on diligently, but this I know is a key part of this too, right? To make sure that the right data is getting the right places to make sure our billing is as best, I guess, as good as it can be, right?
I would say that probably our billing has more of an effect on this than this does on our billing. And the reason being, some of our bad data in our billing system has also impacted this project. As far as our billing goes, one of our big issues were that we had a billing company that closed up shop on us, moved to Birmingham, or closed their Birmingham office a few months ago. We had to go out and get an emergency contract with that was a company called Pinnacle. We had to go out and get an emergency contract with a company called PCI that does the billing. We do the reading. We basically generate the bills. We send them to a billing company that sends out those bills. Those bills, they were going into a queue with Pinnacle. They were telling us that they were executed, but they were actually going into a queue, so our customers weren't getting billed for 2 to 3 months because of our billing company.
Sure.
Once we found that out, we actually found it out through customers letting us know. That's when IT did, they did request for proposals, and they went and looked at, several different billing companies, came up with PCI. Within about a week, or 1 working week of the time we contacted and contracted with PCI, we had bills going out again. So that's kind of taking care of the billing for right now. That contract's set to go, December 21st of 2022 would be the end of that contract that we have with PCI, but it's set to auto renew. We've been happy with the service we've gotten from them so far, so we're intending to let that auto renew this year. That way we can have a full good look under our belts of what they're providing for us and decide whether we need more service and need to request another proposal, or if they're fitting our bills or filling our needs and we don't need to. But it gives us a good time to evaluate that. So that's taking care of a lot of our billing issue though, which was not an AMI issue. That was a billing company issue. But the information in our billing system does greatly affect our ability to convert to AMI.
So was the tip-off to the billing problem when the mayor got the shut-off notice that his water was being turned off for non-payment?
I think that's what it went to a higher level.
Big picture question on so these automatic meters, we don't have to send people out on trucks pulling things out of the ground and reading them, check?
Yes, sir.
And that's transmitted by radio, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And is there any concern about that technology aging and being replaced by, I would assume the next step is some sort of satellite Wi-Fi?
It's not out there at this time, but
Okay.
you know how technology goes. It could change. There are.
This technology is about how old? Is it 20 or 5?
The radio read technology, which is the technology that sends the signal out, it's been out here since
Long
the
time.
late 90s. Now, getting onto AMI where it's, and that's, you folks have probably heard us talk about drive-by. I hear you, Keith. We use the same kind of technology in drive-by, rather than it sending it to being transmitted to a heading computer to a central location. You actually drove by and the radio signal was picked up by the vehicle.
Right.
This gets the vehicle out of it. It sends it to
Okay.
a repeat or to a collector and a repeater that gets it back. The best thing about that bang for your buck is that when you're doing the radio read drive-by, it takes the same amount of infrastructure as far as meter, endpoint, that type of stuff to get one reading a month. The infrastructure that you put in for AMI, it's a very small piece of the overall value of your metering system. And you can get reads on the hour, you can get them every 15 minutes. You can get a lot more information. We can get information where we can go in and actually look at someone's bill and tell them, hey, your leak started at this time, rather than them finding out about it after it's been leaking for a month and a half, because this is the first full month they get a high bill. So this is very customer friendly.
So if you wanted to, you could check and see if Colonel Busby was taking a shower.
Yes, sir. You should be able to, now, it sends real-time readings on the hour.
I mean, this is
It doesn't-
amazing
it's-
to me.
It doesn't send them instantaneously, but it reads
Right.
once an hour and it sends that on the hour. Now you can, and I've got Mr. Will Taylor, he is here with us. He is with our AMI company. He can probably get a lot more technical than I can, but you could set those intervals up to as little as 15-minute reads if you wanted to, but it runs the battery life down and you cut your life expectancy of your system down by 3/4.
So what is the average time that those readings occur? How often do they occur?
Typically 1 hour is standard.
Okay, that's
the
standard.
default setting is every hour, because what we're trying to do is solve problems. Could we look down and see if someone's in the shower? Yes, that could, or whatever you're using the water for. But the goal is to help Ron and his staff look for issues before the mayor gets, hey, you got a
Another
problem
cutoff.
here. So in fact, today I pulled a report and there appears to be 20 customers that have this AMI module already that has continuous usage. So the next step, and normally is the last step of our project, is to do a customer web portal, which will allow those customers to get these notifications. Now, some of the data that Ron mentioned that is poor in your CIS system, we're holding that back because we don't want to put bad data from CIS into our web portal. But once that's active, at that point, these customers will get those notifications before they get a bill or before they get a notice, and help them, hey, I need to call a plumber or whatever I need to do before they get a hot bill.
If you see that continuous usage, I presume we'll contact them and go check it.
You can, you guys can have staff to do that, but if they subscribe to the portal, they can actually get notification to their phone or email if they so choose. So they do have to request that, but it is there and you guys have that capability.
So even if the city, fulfill this contract, the constituents and residents will be able to sign in a portal to get updates and things of that nature,
Absolutely.
real time. Oh man, that's awesome.
But like, as I mentioned, the last thing we want to do is roll that out and have poor data that's in there and them trying to make assumptions off that. So we're ready to go as quick as the data is clean in the CIS system. We'll be ready to roll that out.
What are the challenges to this? What could be the potential challenges?
I think what Ron's doing here is really the challenge. Obviously, if you had a big blank check and said, let's do all 50,000 of them at one time, you probably don't need to do this $99,850 service that you're getting. But the fact of the matter is that doesn't seem to be the case. So what I think the goal here is to allow someone that can come in from a 1,000-foot view and really dig in and say, hey, you have this amount of money. Here's where our biggest need is.
Right.
Let's spend it here.
Yeah.
Ron and the staff have done a great job of deploying the network. Really, all you gotta do is start putting the meters in. You have a fully functional AMI network. We could read the entire system tomorrow if you had the meters in the ground today. But the big thing is you have failing meters. You have some billing problems. So where do we want to start at with the limited funds to solve the most problems?
That's the
So
challenge.
that's really what this is doing.
Gotcha.
And Garber would help us be able to roll this out is to get the most bang for our buck, to help us make the most impact on maintenance, help us make the most impact on a communications plan to get this out to the people, to get the web portal or the customer portal out there. That's what we're asking for from Garber, is the next phase.
And that is one thing that I do see, and I think this will help, is a lot of times, we've done this all over the country. We are the largest AMI provider in the world, really, but definitely in the United States. But a lot of times we have all these bells and whistles, but we don't get the customer buy-in. So we don't want 10% of your customer base to sign up for a service where you have it for everyone. We want 75% of folks to buy in. That way, they have control of their data. They know before they get a high bill, before they have trouble paying their bill, they can take these steps ahead of time to prevent that. So a lot of times that is problematic, and I think Jacobs will do a good job in helping with that and really just helping direct you guys on, here's how much money you have. This is gonna help your staff and solve more problems quickly.
Any other questions? Thank you for being
Thank you,
here.
guys.
Any other questions? I would like to make a motion to table this item for 1 week
Second.
for a vote.
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item is tabled for 1 week. Any new business? I think Mr. Holmes has some new business for us today. Mr. Holmes.
Yes, sir. I know you guys aren't used to hearing this from me, but I have some good news this afternoon. We got word earlier, probably about an hour or so ago, that we have the final approval by the Corps for the acquisition of the property needed for the Western Riverwalk. So we have prepared a suspended rule item that will be on tonight's agenda that authorizes the mayor to sign the deed and for us to pay in the $377,000 for that property. But we want to go
This
ahead and
is
get that moving.
that spot right west of.
The
this
Oliver
is the
Park
part
and the
where you
lock
went
wall.
through the condemnation on?
The condemnation is a different piece of
Okay,
different
where
piece
is
of
this?
property. This is the property, it's right along there that's owned by the Corps that includes that park as well as the lock wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great news.
So just wanted to let y'all know that.
Thank
And
you.
you'll see that suspended rules item tonight.
Thank you, Scott.
Any other business to be brought before our committee? Before we adjourn, I would like to welcome the students from the University of Alabama. Remind me again what class we are in. Their journalism class, all right, so they are our guests, and we're so glad to have them today, so make sure you speak to them.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, that's always good. Our next Public Projects Committee meeting is next Tuesday, September 27th. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, all in favor